Okay. So let's see if you guys can hear me. One host days ago. Okay, hold on. How about that, sir? Yes. Okay. Um I think what happened was Devin has been having some internet problems. And right now I'm gonna take my stupid headphones off because for some reason I hear myself through that. And while he's not on, I don't need to hear me. Um Hopefully he's going to be able to join back on. He may be just doing audio for now, and he can probably tell me how to stop hearing myself in my headphones too. So, um, until he comes back on, you got me. And if you still want to talk about how much you love global warming, we can do that. But I really don't want to. So, again, you shared the world's most important topic: correcting global warming. That is such a horrible idea. I mean, it makes sense that that's what the government has decided to come up with, but it's just atrocious. Like, how is that supposed to be a valid way of doing anything? First of all, stop being pompous enough to think that we can control anything about the environment. What happens with this environment, what happens with the climate is completely cyclical. It happens on its own, and it's so frustrating to think that there's people that think that we're the only reason why um, global warming happens, because that's just not how it goes. Like, we've been it had a scale of the second grader's scratch. I Yeah, that's what I felt like too. It had the scale of a second grader's scratch. Yeah, like, I'm hoping that didn't come from the government. I don't think it did, but that picture was horrible. And when you say amen, listen, voiceless person, don't get me wrong. I fully believe that we have a small part to play in the acceleration of global warming. Like, I think we play some part in it. I don't think we are the whole cause or we can be the whole cure at all. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all to me. Um, I think the problem is when we're talking about things like the civilizations getting wiped out over and over again, is that we don't really have a good grasp of how the climate works. And blah blah blah. We blah blah blah. I'm on here trying to talk and you're telling me blah blah blah. Ugh. Can't please everybody. Um we certainly have a cause and effect, but the corrections that the world will make will be, well, that's it. Like, we have we do knee jerk reactions. And then we're going to do something stupid like this. It's going to set off some type of dumb chain reaction, and we're going to be in an ice age. And then we'll be like, oh, see, the ice age happened because we caused global warming, and then the earth corrected itself. Like, we don't know what happens. What the evidence is showing, what the data is showing, is that ice ages come and go, and sometimes they come and go drastically, quickly. And it's because of forces outside of the planet. So, I mean, the latest things are that, people like Randall Carlson are being proven right, that there was an impact around 11,000 years ago, and it did wipe out the ice caps, and that is what happened. And that gives you your flood origin, and that gives you all that stuff. But we have such a small data pool, and we think we know the answers, and we just don't. Just because we'll be able to see an asteroid won't make a difference with no, that's true. But before you came on, before we crashed and everything, we were talking about how frustrating it'll be if all this stuff that's from ancient civilizations that we don't understand now, where people going, please don't screw this up again, please pay attention to what's going on out there, and you have the ability to protect yourselves from these things that come and wipe us out every now and then, and we're smart enough to do it, and just stop doing dumb things like having tribes and causing and making religions and causing, oh god, I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. But like all that stuff, that's just a waste of time when it comes to, do we want to actually continue? Do we want to get off this planet and go check out other things? Like, we're never going to make it if we keep fighting over stupid things, killing ourselves, and not paying attention to the fact that, like you say, when that asteroid makes a 20 mile wide crater, it's going to be too late. But if you do see it far enough in advance, there's I'm going to really dumb it down and simplify it, because Lord knows I don't know how to do it. But it's been proven that you can divert that, and it doesn't take all that much. And no, you don't send Ben Affleck and whoever else up with a nuclear bomb and try to blow up the asteroid. That doesn't work that way. But you just need to push it off course. You just need to just divert it a little bit. You push it barely off its path, and it's going to miss the Earth by a lot. But then Bruce Willis Bruce Willis went up there too, right? Weren't there a couple different movies did that? Anyways, 70-year lifespan. The series lasts billion years. A fly that weighs, yeah, Bruce. Yeah, it's. I mean, the scary thing is that's not wrong. It's not wrong in terms of, cosmological time. That's exactly what we are. We're something that lives not even a day. We're just like this blink of an eye thing. And we pretend like we know everything. We pretend that we know what is causing all this stuff to happen, when we don't. We just don't. And we could have figured this stuff out multiple times now and still been wiped out. And that's what it looks like. Most of the evidence is pointing to that we have that happen to ourselves. And like Devin was saying, it's too bad he's not on anymore. What Devin was saying about being cyclical, it's going to be really infuriating if that's what happens to us. We're just part of a cycle. And this is what we do, and this is what we do, and this is what we do. We just wipe ourselves out, and we get wiped out, and we get wiped out, and we just can't get past a certain point. And every time we get to a good point, well, I mean, it could be argued that this is a good point. Might not be. Like for Brian, all his truths can be learned from British comedy. Not wrong. Again, what sucks is, like, I know you're saying that as a joke, but you're saying it as, because you're like me, you're saying it as part real too. And the funny thing is there's so much little subtle stuff in all those Monty Python movies that you're not wrong when it says all that's true can be learned from a British group. There's a lot of stuff you can learn from those movies. Yeah, see, I'm not joking. No, I know. But when you say it like that, because you're, I mean, how long have we known each other? Your thinking is like mine, and that comes off as a joke to most people because it sounds funny. It doesn't sound anything that's rational, but there is so much truth to it. Devin, I don't know if you're listening anymore, but what I really need you to do for me is start sending me a message in Discord so I don't hear myself in my headphones and I can put my headphones back on. That's what I need. Need some help. Um, yeah. Well, God, now you're gonna be thinking about Life of Brian. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I think one of my favorite parts of the movie, and it doesn't seem subtle. It seems kind of jarring when it happens. Is when he gets abducted by the aliens. To me, that's just so much of how religions get started in the first place, and that's why they kind of threw it in there. Like something completely unexpected happens, and someone's like, "Oh, we have to worship that." He like the whole joke of Life of Brian is this guy's no one, and he's just deemed the Messiah, and he gets picked up by these aliens, and exactly, and he just gets picked up by these aliens for no apparent reason. But that is where that heads. That's where people, like, if you don't know what something is, you struggle to make sense of it, and you come up with anything that you think makes sense. Voiceless person, I'm sure, is not amused with my comments at this point, and that's why that person won't make any more comments. I'm not saying, did Devin get abducted? You label it real. Did Devin get abducted? Well, my concern is every time this happens that it's tuck and roll media, that they got him. But hopefully it's not true. I did get messages every now and then from him still. He is having internet trouble. I'm hoping he comes in and saves me at some point, just to at least have someone to talk to. If I could connect anyone else on here so they could talk with me too, that would be great. But I don't have that technology. So there was a couple of other things that happened that we were gonna talk about. And just so everyone, if anyone shows up who hasn't been watching, normally you'll see on the screen, I'm Kevin, and there should be a Devin, but Devin is having issues right now, and he isn't on. I don't know if he's going to try to get back on or not. So tonight, you've got just Kevin for now. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I'm sad. I like it better with two people, but I'm going to do my best because I kind of enjoy doing this now. So there were some other things that Devin and I were going to talk about. The fire was the big one, but they were also we're also going to talk about some flooding things that we watched about what Randall Carson was talking about. And he made a really good point that he was walking in New Mexico. Hello. Yes, I see you're waving hi, emoticon. So they had a picture where they were walking in New Mexico along a river, and there was a giant boulder there, just out of place. And he made a point where where I live, most of the people watching right now all live around here too, but in the Northeast, we were underneath the glaciers when the Ice Age was going on. So it's not uncommon for us to have glacial erratics, which are giant boulders that are just kind of laying around. Madison Boulder is one of them where you can go, and it's just this gigantic rock that's there for no reason. But it got dragged there by glaciers. But in New Mexico, there were no glaciers. So the rock that he was standing at was of such a size that it had to be. Let me just check something real quick. Oh, no, that seems to be gone. It had to be moved by a flood, a big flood. And he was trying to put in, and I keep saying he for people that aren't just getting caught up. Randall Carlson was saying to put it in perspective, in the 60s, there I think it was 1969 in August, Hurricane Camille hit the U.S. and stalled out over, I think, North Carolina or South Carolina. But it dumped an unbelievable amount of rain over one town. I think it was Norman County. I'm going to do a little Google search to make sure that I'm right about that. Um, but it dumped so much rain that it took a decade or over a decade for this area to even get back on its feet after all the rain. And I got to get the actual Harrison County. I have to get the actual amount because it's just unbelievable how much rain fell. Impact. Alabama, Virginia. Records. Anyways, they equated it to 400 times. Devin has made sure he's plugged in. He has to clear his cookies and try again. But the equivalent force, and this is a weird thing to comprehend, like it's a weird scale that they use, but the amount of energy that was let go over that county was like 400 times the power of all the nuclear weapons at the height of the nuclear arms race. So it was just a ridiculous amount of water. And what he said was that wasn't even nearly enough to move that rock that he was at New Mexico. So the point being, we have nothing to have a frame of reference. Like the humans have a very hard time comprehending things unless they have a frame of reference. And there is nothing to use for a frame of reference on the scale of these things that happen. Like the amount of devastation that happens on the earth, we haven't even witnessed yet. Like the largest tsunamis we've seen are nothing compared to what the largest ones are. The largest earthquakes that have happened are nothing. The largest volcanoes are nothing. So for us to have this crazy idea that we're going to put up a weather balloon or a bunch of weather balloons and we're going to cure global warming, it's just, it's insulting to the power of nature to think that we can even do anything like that. I know there's people that will be like really mad about that. How much water does it take to float a quarter? How much does it take to float churches? And is the quarter a witch? Is the quarter a witch if it sinks? How much water does it take to float a quarter? Heavy water? Mercury? What are we talking about? What are we going to float this quarter on? Water ain't going to get the job done. Unless it's, oh, are you going to do something dumb to me and tell me like, oh, you don't need much if it's frozen? Wish the delay wasn't so long because I know he's going to have a wise ass comment for me. I wonder if anyone knows Devin right now. I wonder how angry he is. I mean, the level has to be off the charts. Perhaps it's salt water. Okay, that's true. No, it wasn't wise. Okay. Look, do I have good reason for thinking that it might have been a wise ass comment coming from you? I don't think that's wrong. But so you could throw it in the Great Salt Lake. Would a quarter do that? Look that up. Does that work? Can a quarter float in the Great? It's not going to say no. It's going to sink. Yeah, it's going to sink. The only reason the human body floats in that is because it can float in normal water. It's expected. Yes. Very expected. Oh, this is difficult. See, if I was playing a game, this wouldn't be as bad, but it is difficult to have a one-sided conversation on here when I want to talk about that type of stuff. Need to bounce it off people. Need to have a better way of getting people to be able to talk in here. If he's just sitting back watching me struggle with this too, I'm gonna kick him the next time we do one together. I will kick him. I wish you would just maybe it had help. All right. I've been trying really hard to get this done on my own. Maybe like an African. But I'm going to drop off for now. I think we have isolated the issue to being on Devin's side because this seems to be going well. So if I can get him to come back, we'll be back on. But for now, I'm going to take off. Thank you, everyone who was talking. And hopefully we'll be back on before too long. Oh, I just got a message where he's trying to fix some shit on his PC right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on our away screen. They're seeing almost both. Well, we might be back on shortly. He's going to fix a couple things. I'm going to put it on our away screen, and hopefully we'll be back soon. But if not, thank you everyone for hanging out for as long as you could. And like I said, hopefully we'll be on soon. Bye.
Dear Teapot, Dear Teapot, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tfodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tfodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tfodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. tpodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tpodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tpodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tpodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tpodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tpodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tfodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tfodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tfodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tfodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. The old man of the mountain was abducted. Down Tuck and Roll Media. tfodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot, Dear Teapod, Dear Typod, Norbert Haug, John Goodman in a leather jacket. Think free or die. The truth is out there. dearteapodcast@gmail.com. Dear Teapot. Dear Teapod. Dear Typod. Norbert Haug. John Goodman in a leather jacket. Dear Teapot. Dear Teapod. Dear Typod. Norbert Haug. John Goodman